Hey guys, in this video I wanted to talk about Legacies Season 2 Episode 10. Just so you guys know, I will be trying to make videos for the rest of the season. I've just been watching the show for a while and I was like, yeah, why not also talk about it, kind of spread my thoughts and stuff like that. So that's kind of why I decided to do this series. If you guys like it, just let me know in the comments. And I'm very curious to see what you guys have to say about the show as well. So to begin with, this is the episode about the Kareen, which is a creature that pretty much is able to cause you to have negative thoughts and kind of cause like discourse among different people, and it's not actually visible to people until it has affected enough people and gained enough power to gain a physical form. This is actually something that we find out during the episode as well. So I thought this choice of a monster was really, really cool because this was kind of very different from some of the other ones. Usually it's just, oh, a monster appears, it attacks someone, time to fight it. So it was a kind of a bit of a change of pace, which I really, really liked. And with that, we also had the return of a teacher from season 1. I forget what her name is, but she's a witch. And she's back to help out with Coven Day, which is apparently a thing that the people at the school celebrate. So yeah, that's pretty much where we start off the episode with, and we have this character Wade, who I remember his introduction and I loved it. So I'm very, very glad that they brought him back for this episode. What they did was he walks in and has a presentation as to why he thinks that he is not super amazing at magic, and he says that it's because he has actually been misdiagnosed. He's not a witch, he's a fairy. And he pretty much gets laughed out of the room, which kind of sucked, and I felt really bad for him because he was kind of just like being treated like crap by everyone around him, but it was also partially because the Kareen was affecting everyone. But you notice that he's actually able to see the Kareen while no one else is. So that was interesting as well. I didn't actually think they would make him a fairy, but they did. By the end of the episode, we kind of found out that he was actually correct about what he was saying. And the whole thing was that he, as a fairy, is the only creature able to see a Kareen. While it's not in the physical world yet, and a fairy's power is based off of belief. So I really thought this was a cool way to bring back this character and kind of make him, I guess, more in line with what they're trying to do with this, the world of the Vampire Diaries. Now that it's in like the third show, they have a lot more creatures that aren't just vampires, which is werewolves, which was kind of like the basis of this show to begin with, that there's more out there. And I thought it was very cool to see that this actually happened. I am curious to know, though, why Wade was ever diagnosed as a witch, because witches are normally based off of your like bloodline. So that was a bit of something that I was a little bit confused about as to how they could have misdiagnosed him. Or is it that like a fairy can be a child of a witch? I have no idea. They didn't really explain that, but I mean, maybe we'll see more in the future. But regardless, I'm super happy to have seen this character again, because I don't know, I just really liked him. He was kind of like a geek in the corner. I don't know about that, but like I don't know why, but like he's like a nerd with like cameras. He's like kind of an outsider to a degree. So I don't know. It was a very interesting character, especially in a world where like everyone's pretty much broken up into 3 categories originally, where like you're either a vampire, werewolf, witch, and that's kind of your cliques for the most part. And this guy's just kind of on his own, which I found very interesting. So yeah, his kind of introduction or reintroduction, and how he ends up actually being the one to fight the Kareen and kill him, because the Kareen's actually afraid of him because he knows that he's the only one he could stop. And we realize that because this character Wade was next to Landon, who was another character. Landon realizes that he wasn't affected while he was with Wade, but when he left Wade, he was actually being affected. So that's kind of how they realized, yes, this kid actually is a fairy. So, I don't know, the whole way that this episode was really structured, it was a nice change of pace, in my opinion. I do think that it bodes well for the rest of the show, because I feel like the first half was getting very formulaic with like it was a new creature every week, and even if that continues, like trying to change things up in any real way by like not every monster has to be someone from the Malivore pit, or it's not someone attacking the school every time. I thought it was a cool way of going about it, and it was just like another student that was misdiagnosed as a witch when in fact he was another magical creature. So thought that was really cool, and his whole presence in the show was really nice to see. So yeah. Now the other part of this episode is the whole prison world story as well, which all the witches ended up actually working together to send I forget what the device is called, but it's like a sand clock that's holding like black magic from one of the other characters who has been using black magic and not trying to feel the effects of it, but the sand clock will burst and consume her basically in black magic, or that's kind of what it sounds like at the moment. So that's kind of where we're at. They're trying to get rid of the sand clock as it starts to crack. So we have a kind of reintroduction of the prison world, which is something that I believe started in the Vampire Diaries with the prison world for Kai. This was like a later season thing. I don't remember everything off the top of my head, but I do remember like certain things about it. And Kai is apparently still there. And the whole thing is they don't want to send the sand clock to the same prison world because in case it explodes, I don't know, like certain things could happen. So they're trying to use their own, like create their own prison world. So you have to create like a new Ascendant, which is basically like something that creates a portal to that world. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff with that's going on, which I found very interesting. It was a good way to kind of tie back to the legacies, I guess, of the show, which is the Vampire Diaries. So, and also the two characters like Josie, whose sand clock it is. It's her black magic, like, I don't know, I don't even know how to describe it, that is like inside the sand clock or whatever. Kai is her uncle, and Kai's the one who killed their mother. And Rick really does not want to send them there. So yeah, that really made sense to me and everything. So I really like that. And he's very, like, clearly he's very hesitant about all that stuff. And we find out at the end of the episode why. So I thought that was a very cool way to bring back something from the show and kind of rework it into a new thing and actually, like, not just be like, oh, this is a thing that we know about, but actually, like, integrate it into the story very, very well. So I really like that. Yeah, and then you also have the whole backstory with Alyssa Chen? Alyssa Chen? Yeah, I think that's her name. And she is now Hope's roommate. She actually got Hope's room when Hope disappeared from existence or whatever. So she doesn't really like that Hope's now her roommate. And she's kind of an asshole, but whatever. Yeah, so we find out more about her backstory. Her family was killed. She's had like a lot of mental problems in the past. Like she always used to like get into fights and things like that. So her memories were actually altered. And then now it's being thought that she might actually have to be sent to a prison world. But they ultimately decided not to do that. And we realized from Rick and the teacher who has returned that they've actually done this before. So I thought there was going to be like an army of students at this prison world that Kai was at, and that's probably why he doesn't want to send the sand clock there. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see for that to see how many students there are. Yeah, so with that, I thought that was very cool. But we realized at the end of the episode that when everyone's memories of Hope returned from Josie's spell, her Alyssa's memories from like pretty much everything that was wiped from her mind came back. So she remembers what they were planning to do and what they did to her and everything else. So I thought that was a really cool way to bring that about. And what she does is she actually tricks everyone and switches out the Ascendants and basically sets a timer that will send Rick, Josie, and Lizzie, the entire family basically, to the original prison world with Kai as a payback pretty much for what they did or what Rick did in the past. So yeah, that was a very cool way to bring all of that back to the story. with the prison world and everything. And I guess next episode we're going to see what happens with that. The thing is, like, and with the end of the episode, like, I really loved that Hope just wasn't confused, but she immediately went and attacked Alyssa. I feel like I watched me be like saying her name wrong this entire time, but pretty sure it was Alyssa. And just being like, "What the hell's going on? What did you do?" And the three Saltzman family members end up in the prison world, and lo and behold, Sebastian is there. So, yeah, a lot of cliffhangers, I guess. We're going to just have to wait and see how they return to the main world. And, yeah, this is a very good return for the characters and everything like that. Yeah, so I'm very excited about this, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Let me know what you guys think, and yeah, that's all I have to say.